Welcome back to the Atlanta Open 2024 presented by Tarek Real Estate. Parham Bears Cricket Ground is where we are in Georgia. And this matchup, the second match for the day, featuring the Carolina Smashers and the Samp Army. A very strong team on paper, but I think you saw this morning that doesn't necessarily mean very much. Now the new ball in hand, Shadley Van Skalkvik starting out. And we have a game underway here. Welcome back to the commentary area, my good friend, Mr. Keshav Bahadur Singh.
Good afternoon, Brian. Definitely a pleasure to be here for the second game in this first match day of fixtures. We saw this morning a really exciting encounter. It ebbed and flowed for both teams. And the result in the end was the one that was initially predicted.
Flash and a miss outside off. Shadley Van Skalkvik is a very good bowler. Played for the U.S. as recently as a couple of weeks ago. Excels with the new ball and at the death. And is a very skillful bowler. Generally, not express, but accuracy in terms of line and length. Matter of fact, speaking of line, you see Captain Aaron Jones now at first slip because that delivery is leaving the batter. The batter, in fact, is Aniket Walimbe. And watch how Shadley Van Skalkvik attacks him here. Plays off the back foot. They'll get a single here. That is, I believe, in the gully area. Good diving, rolling stop by Raj Nanan. And we're off and running. First run on the board.
Yeah, it's a good start thus far from the opening bowler for the Samp Army. Know that the Samp Army has franchised in several leagues across the globe. So certainly is a reputable team to take note of. And by all means, I'm sure the Carolina Smashers will be looking to make a dent in their armory.
Samp Army, you mentioned all the leagues that they play in. Just a very dominant squad. Not a split second about going for that one and deciding against it at the last second. I believe this is Nityanandam. We'll confirm that as soon as he turns around and shows us his jersey number. Yep, that is Nityanandam. The name just rolls off your tongue, doesn't it? 3 deliveries in, or 4 deliveries in. Down the leg side this time, and for the first time they'll have to re-bowl that one. Shadley Van Skalkvik. So we thought this morning that we were looking at a 180, 190, 200 wicket. Very dry conditions. Now the dew is all gone. It's bright sunshine here in Georgia. I would estimate the air temperature at about 76, 77. Or for you people who deal with Celsius, probably around 25, 26. Worked away into the leg side. There's nobody out there. I'll tell you what. With that field, Shadley Van Skalkvik has nobody at fine leg, and that's always going to be 4.
Yeah, so errand delivery there, just straight on the pads. As you rightly said, no fielder placed on that area of the leg side, neither fine leg nor anyone by the square leg region. So 3 runs once you drift into that region, and we know that the breeze initially was coming across the ground. So that new ball probably just moving into the pads of the batsman, allowing to play quite comfortably, and the first boundary of the innings for Carolina Smashers.
So it's a very aggressive field set here by Shadley Van Skalkvik. It's a 7-2 field. So there's a man at square leg, or not even square leg, mid-wicket, and there's a mid-on. And there's literally nobody else on the leg side. So that absolutely dictates that you bowl on the off stump or outside. And it's a good ball to end things here in over number 1. 6 without loss is your score.
So the Samp Army, with a few notable names from across the Caribbean. Jonathan Fu and Chandapal Hemraj, both from Guyana. Captain Aaron Jones just came from winning the CPL 2024 with St. Lucia Kings. Had a very instrumental knock in that final match. In fact, he ended up not out with the vice captain Ruston Chase. And the display of emotions and genuine happiness shown by all of those players, you know, it really demonstrated how much it meant to them in that aspect. St. Lucia has won the CPL for the first time since the tournament came around, and I'm sure Samp and Aaron Jones will be looking to win this tournament and do their best to maintain their standards.
Talk about Aaron Jones. By the way, this is going to be Raj Nanan, tall, left arm orthodox bowler, bowling to Mitanch Nityananda. In fact, I'm sorry, bowling to Aniket Walimbe. You'll see him around the wicket again, left armer. Work down the leg side, gets it just a little too straight to start here with over number 2. Coming back for the second, actually, and they'll get there without much fuss.
That's good running between the pair. Push hard for the first one, and a little bit of a fumble in the field allowed them to come back for the second.
We'll talk about Aaron Jones. Obviously, just getting back from the CPL. In fact, landed in Atlanta this morning. So he's a little bit tired. Not exactly a very long flight from the Caribbean to here, but still, that would have, let's say, interfered with his preparation for the game. But kudos to him to be able to play here from the very first match of the day. This is clipped away into the deep, though. Rajnanan getting this one. We've seen a few full tosses from spinners today. That's worked away to the deep for 4.
I think now that the sun has been out for quite some time, you can see outfield just even quicker than this morning. And that was an errant full toss into the leg side, so one of the easier shots to play. Some of the full tosses we saw this morning were just around chest height, or just those awkward positions where it's difficult to time, but one into the pads, it's meat and drink.
Mm-hmm. Oh, making the absolutely fatal decision of going back to a full ball. The coaches will say you probably want to play that one on the front foot. Goes back, loses his middle stump.
No need for that shot at this stage, I would say. I mean, just got a boundary in the over and going along well, but decided to play through the offside. We can see in the replay, quicker delivery from Rajnanan, and he just tried to heave that one into the leg side, clipping the top of the leg stump. I don't think any batsman would want to get bowled on leg stump, because it just makes you wonder about your positioning and your foot movement and all of those factors.
Well, it calls into question about 3 or 4 major decision trees, if you will. For me, the first decision tree, and I was more bowler than a batter, but I know I know enough about batting to know that you stand a better chance playing a full delivery if you go forward versus back. So for me, this is one you come forward. You've said earlier about keeping it in the V. This is one you come forward and punch down to mid-on. On leg stump from around the wicket, the left-hander, this delivery is asking for you to play that with a straight bat to mid-on, choosing to go completely across the line, and he's unfortunately for him dismissed. So Saite just ready is the new batter, joining Mitanch Nityanandam as the first wicket falls at 12. Oh, again you see a fuller delivery, choosing to go back. Let's watch the umpire's decision here. Nope, just by signal by umpire Judson Edwards. That's one again that you want to go forward to.
Well, we saw that same type of shot being repeated in the first match of the day between the Knight Riders United and the Falcons. I think it's a mindset for batsmen when they just see the ball coming into them and want to give themselves room.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're cramping themselves, ironically.
So this is a similar type of delivery to the one that you just saw. His trigger movement was back, but then it did come forward. For me, I used to have a coach that said the only time you go back is to play an aggressive shot. So if you want to go back and play a square cut or a pull, that's one thing. But going back to play defensively asks a couple of questions that you're probably not prepared to answer to a full ball. Lovely shot. Inside out, a couple of bounces over extra cover for 4.
That's a beautiful shot there from Nityanandam, and just opening the face of the bat to get it wide of that fielder at the mid-off region. Perfect field placement.
You see on that replay, he intentionally stays inside the ball. Kind of backs away to the leg side to open up the offside. Good looking strike over the top. So ends with a good shot. 17 for 1 is your score after 2.
Alrighty.
Boy, interesting starts. So this morning when in the match between the Knight Riders and the Falcons, old age, you saw that it was the team that we perceived would be the weaker team who were bowling first. This time, you can probably make an argument. Again, no disrespect intended to the Carolina Smashers, but the Samp Army is the more, let's call it, highly reputed team. On this occasion, the team that is less highly reputed is one that's batting first. So in theory, you could argue that if par is 180, you're looking to keep them for something underneath that. At least that would be the expectation. Shadley Van Skalkvik, ooh, that ball carries through very nicely to the wicketkeeper Jonathan Fu.
Yeah, and I think any of the moisture that may have been on the pitch for that first game, causing a bit of a two-paced nature with some of the deliveries, that certainly would have dried out by now, and we might see a much more even contest in terms of the pitch playing fair for the batting teams. Play through the line of the ball with confidence.
Good shot, stroke straight to mid-on, no run. A couple of good deliveries here to start. Over number 2 for Shadley Van Skalkvik. Third over of the innings. You mentioned a number of players around of Caribbean heritage. Who else on the Samp Army would you like to highlight who's from the best area in the world, bar none?
Well, there's a very talented youngster. We'll get to him after this delivery. Smart bowling there. Again, taking some pace off of it outside the off stump, and batsman unable to get a connection. Of course, there's the very talented fast bowler, Liam Mamchan, hailing from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. I'll be excited to see when he gets an opportunity with the ball.
Liam coming off of an injury in the last year, but according to him is back to full fitness. This is lofted into the air. Just a flick of the wrist. Not exactly cleanly hit, but it will find the ropes at deep mid-wicket. So another boundary here underway for the man with the bat in hand. Side just ready.
Finding the gaps thus far are the Carolina Smashers. And that one, even though officially safe in the air, still in the power play, and only 2 fielders outside the circle, one at that backward square region, and a third man appears to be outside of the 30 yard.
So I guess if you were to ask Shadley Van Skalkvik what was wrong with that 4th ball of the over, he would agree that it was a little too straight. Pulling going into the pads. And again, he's bowling to a 7-2 field. In fact, it was a 7-2 field. It's now a 6-3 field, but there's no one in the deep on the leg side where that ball went. So there essentially it became a free hit. Not a free hit in the sense that you can't be dismissed, but a batter would love to score off of those. Played away off the back foot. That is a lovely looking shot, and it goes away for 4. Excellent stroke. So 2 scoring strokes in the over, 8 runs on the board. 25 for 1 is your score after 3.
Lightning fast outfield. He essentially just guided that ball through the gap. He didn't really put too much of power on it. A lovely shot, just opening the face. And bearing in mind that there was a fielder at third man as well as point, he had to play within that gap.
And look at this again, because you mentioned he didn't overhit it. Look at how he gets up on top of it, on his toes when he plays this there, because he wants to keep it down. That is good batting, and you have to highlight that, because once again, if you're looking for a team, are you going to ask if the Carolina Smashers are going to beat the Samp Army? Probably not. But you can find little pockets of things that they do well to be able to build on. For me, that's evidence of that.
Yeah, all positive signs of good batting.
Raj Nanan back for his 2nd over. Solid in defense this time.
He's very quick through the air. Doesn't really give much flight or loop on his deliveries, but just seems to go stump to stump, does Nanan.
He can be very dangerous. Very tall, so he gets good bounce. Oh, that time he saw extra bounce. Stayed in the air for a while. That man at short extra cover is Shehan Jayasuriya. You would have seen him Played in the minor leagues the last several seasons and also played in the major leagues, I believe, for the Seattle Orcas. Left-handed batter, aggressive top-order batter, and a right-handed off-spinner. So watch for him later on. Forward and plays this into the square leg area for a single. Very interesting. So, conflicting information that we'll sort out shortly. Tossed up, in the air for a while to backward point. No run. So apparently I'm an idiot. A movie, and you needed someone to play the role of the man I just told you about. Shehan Jayasuriya, you would recruit Chandapal Hemraj because to me they are the same person.
Almost
identical. Identical. Okay, so forget everything. Well, it's still true what I said about Jayasuriya. Just happens to not be playing in this game.
And in fact, those traits that you mentioned are very similar of Hemraj, a left-handed aggressive batter who bowls left-arm orthodox. So no need to be harsh on yourself. It happens to us all.
Oh my goodness. End of over number 4. I will go and, I don't know, repent of my sins for the last several minutes. Score is 26 for 1.
It's quite fine, buddy. I'm sure the players wouldn't mind at all. It's only positive statements being made in either aspect. So, in fact, Hemraj has heard you and he's taken the ball. So we can't wait to see.
I said I need to live up to that billing. So let me take the ball.
Now, I must say, I think it's a bit of a brave move. You tell me your thoughts on this, Ryan, because it's in the power play, and you have a left-arm orthodox operating from the other end, and now you bring in Hemraj, who, unlike Nanan, he's a bit more flighty through the air and turns the ball a bit more, as you can see from ball 1. So I think he's probably using the drift with the breeze as well to just try and cramp the batsman from any room to play freely.
His length is going to have to be spot on. You and I are sitting probably 65 yards from the crease. It's over the top for 6. So kind of what I was referring to earlier, his length has to be short of driving length. If it is anywhere at that length where the batter can play through the line and drive, whether through the offside or in our direction, it's a clean hit and a relatively short boundary. So he's going to have to fix that length.
Man, that's a lovely looking shot. Just backed away from the leg stump and hit it up and over the offside. Never an easy shot to execute that, but did it to perfection there.
For me, even though in a vacuum that was short, from this end, that's a better delivery than the one that he bowled earlier.
Yeah, it definitely is, because as we note from the end that Hemraj is bowling, the straight back boundary is the shortest of all around this field.
And this is well played. It's got to run away for 4. I don't mind that length, a similar length to the one that was for the previous delivery, but the line this time was too far outside off.
Yeah, so just train with his consistency is Hemraj. First delivery started off well, and even the delivery preceding that boundary was well.
In fairness, you're asking a lot of your left arm orthodox spinner to bowl from this end.
That's what I'm
at
saying.
The stage of the game in the power play.
Now, the thing is, he does have experience. As we see this ball just going into the pads, he does have experience bowling with the new ball, because a few years ago, in fact, he was the opening bowler for the Guyana Amazon Warriors in the CPL. And he opened with that new ball, and he tends to drift it as well as flight it through the air. As we see the batsman just maybe from a blue to one of those sensitive areas.
I'm assuming you know Ryan Davis.
Not personally, but I know of the character.
So Ryan Davis and I were on commentary here last year at the Atlanta Open. What just happened in that match. I mentioned that the batter was hit in the middle stump. Ryan said that he thinks that the batter would have actually been preferred to hit in the actual middle stump versus where he was actually hit.
And I think I would agree with him. I think I would agree with him because that pain is nothing easy to overcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, if just, you know what, I'll leave that alone. Let that one go through to the keeper. Let's just say we're glad he's up and about again. 36 for 1 is your score. One delivery remaining here in over number 5. And what is the response here? Wanted the single, but sent back a good delivery to close out over number 5, but 10 runs come from it with a 6 and a 4. End of over 5, 36 for 1 is your score.
10 runs coming off of that hemorrhage over. And Nanan thus far 2 overs for 11, so he's been keeping it tight on one end, while the other end has been leaking runs, unfortunately.
Well, the partnership is looking decent. It's building. It's now worth 26 runs. A change in the bowling now, because bowling from the southern end of the ground is going to be Nasir Khan. So more spin into the attack. Jonathan Fu, the man behind the stumps, looking to see here in the last over of the power play if they can keep things quiet for 6 more balls. Oh my goodness. Short, played into the offside. I think the batter will want to store that one in the memory banks, because I think he'll do better with that type of ball the next time he gets it.
Yeah, well, just has to be mindful again that back it away and play into the offside. You've seen many dismissals already in this first day of play. Tried to turn that one into the leg side, but took the outer edge. Ended up going to the point region.
It's interesting because the ball rushed onto him, playing awkwardly. It stayed in the air for a little bit, but not quite to the point that it would have been a catch.
In the air, and it lands just over the rope, I believe. Waiting confirmation from the umpire just before the rope. You're waiting to see whether it was going for 6 or 4, but that ball just stuck in the pitch and sit up to be hit, essentially.
It did sit up, plus it was a genuine top edge, so it had more height than distance. Plus, we talked about the wind that's starting to pick up, that was hit into the wind. So all those factors kept it inside the park, but still 4 runs nonetheless.
And again, this one is into the air, and a comfortable catch taken this time. Nasir Khan strikes, and it's another wicket for the Samp Army.
Saite Just Ready is the one who got dismissed that time late on the shot. He's a spinner, or at least, put it this way, he's coming off a short run, but he's actually pushing the ball through more quickly than you might think. And Saite Just Ready was late on the shot. It maybe came off of the very top of the bat, close to the bat maker's name, and the simplest of catches taken at mid-on.
Now, the strange thing is, the previous delivery was almost identical to that one in terms of it was banged into the pitch, shorter than your average length for a bowler bowling that pace. And both deliveries hit the top edge of the bat. One went for a boundary and one, unfortunately, went to the hands of the fielder. But I was trying to figure out what exactly is Khan bowling, because we haven't really seen any delivery turn or any action looking at his wrist to say that he's spinning the ball. So I think it's for a gentle medium, just from a couple of steps.
You know what? We'll call it gentle medium. That works for me. But it can be tricky to face bowlers like this because the length of his run-up makes you think, okay, he's a spinner. In fact, some spinners have a run-up longer than this. And then the way he approaches the crease almost appears like he's going to be bowling, you know, turning the ball over, tossing it up. But he fires it through very quickly.
As we see there again, skidding through to the keeper. And his action as well is interesting.
Interesting is a good way of putting it. It's almost, okay, the coach will tell you to come from 12 o'clock. This is coming almost from 1 o'clock. It's kind of a awkward delivery.
Round
Yep.
It's a kind of round back of the arm release.
Well, wide here for the first time in this innings. That is umpire Judson Edwards who asks him to re-bowl that.
And that's better, just inside the line. So a good breakthrough over from Nasser Khan comes to an end. At the end of 6 overs, the score 43 for the loss of 2. Getting an all-important wicket. And that brings the power play as well to an end. So we're going to see, is it Hemraj to continue? Yes, it will be. Captain
Are you sure you don't mean Shehan Jayasuriya?
I think we should probably ask him if they are good friends as well, because you never know. They might have a very good relationship.
Quick look at the Manhattan, if you will. That second over was an expensive one. 11 runs came from it. Over number 5 was also relatively expensive with 8, but for the most part, in fact, with 10, my apologies. But for the most part, the scoring rate is one that will keep you interested. 7.17 projects to a score of 143. Lovely strike for 4. That was beautiful. Foot to the pitch and driving it through the covers.
If it's one thing, Nityanandam is very competent through the offside. Most of his stroke play thus far has been in that region, and you almost never see a fielder placed there, Brian. Realistically, you would see the cover, you would see wide of cover, but that gap is really a difficult one to pierce. And once you get it into that region, almost guaranteed a boundary. This one just cut away, and the fielder comes off the boundary, just a single, to the pace that the delivery reached him at.
Well, you're out of the power play now, so you can be more defensive with your field settings. Raj Nanana, we talked about earlier, the orthodox left-arm spinner, is now down, sweeping on the boundary. He has a very strong throwing arm. He's built like a fast bowler. He's about 6'2", and if you saw him walking around before the game warming up, you would think he was a fast bowler. But he's a spinner, but he has a very good throwing arm from the deep.
A bit of a stifled appeal.
Yeah.
Emraj with a curious look at the umpire.
Thing is, it was a curious look. It was also a curious appeal. It was not, oh my goodness, yes, that's out. It's
correct.
Okay. Could you possibly think whether or not that would have been out? So an interesting couple of deliveries here.
Yes, Hemraj has come back well after that first over. 10 in the first and only 5 conceded thus far, apart from that boundary. That's a single. You want to finish strong. And this one again cut away. Nanan comes off that boundary and a single, but they have to look for these throws. So in the first game, a couple of those throws bounced awkwardly right before reaching the keeper and led to a couple of extra runs. Not the case in that instance for Sampami's benefit.
Nityanandam is looking very comfortable. Excuse me. 26 from 18, 4 fours and a 6. And I think you've seen him get himself into the position where he's a solid top order batter. He's a young man, very young. And I would think that his role here is to keep playing shots. You don't need to necessarily do anything risky, but he's making the scoreboard turnover, which is what you want. End of over number 7. Score 50 for 2.
What I like about his style as well is that he is playing proper cricket in strokes. He's playing each ball on its merit. He has respected deliveries that have been good, and he's taken advantage of anything as has been either too full or too wide on offer.
And he loves it too wide. That shot over extra cover that he's played a couple of times, 1 for 6, 1 for 4, is one that is very, very delicious, if you will.
Tucked away in on the leg side, and the fielder is deep on the boundary, but gets there in time, so just a single.
Oh, long.
It's Namish Guram on strike. Just
we
one
never
from
did
5.
we never did announce him, did we?
Well, I think the fact that Nityanam has taken majority of the strike, Guram has been just observing on the non-striker's end, but now he's facing up here to Khan, and he flicks that one nicely in the air. That's a good-looking shot for 4 runs, and you see Khan just signaling to the skipper Jones to move the fielder a bit squarer. But I think Jones is watching him a bit perplexed, and even the keeper is indicating there's not much you can do if you pitch the ball in that region. I don't think you put a fielder on the leg side intending to bowl leg side unless you're trying to set them up for a catch on the larger side of the ground or with the wind factors or anything like that. But as a medium pacer coming to him, I think he wants to maintain outside the off stump.
No question. Oh my goodness, it was in the air for a while. This is the kind of line that you want to bowl, given your pace and given the feel. And I think you highlighted very well the ways in which you might consider bowling straight at the batter if you're inducing him to hit into the wind or to the bigger side of the ground, as you mentioned. But other than those types of factors, you want that ball to be outside off stump.
Yeah, that's definitely consistency Khan would want to maintain. And that's better. Just inside the wide line. No signal from the umpire, but it's a tight offside field.
Mm-hmm.
Just dabbed into the offside region. Ramchan comes around from point. Good return to the keeper. An easy single to end the over. So at the end of 8, the score 56 for the loss of 2. Carolina Smashers going along nicely at 7 runs and over. Nityanam 27 from 19 and Namish Guram 6 from 10.
So we're talking about exact or scoring rates again. Scoring exactly at the rate of 7, that would translate to a score of 140.
I think the mathematics gods are being kind to us.
They
Brian.
are being kind. They've clearly seen that we're struggling. So we're keeping it in keep it nice round numbers.
Yes, indeed.
Now, in the meantime, if you were looking to plan the rest of the innings, the rest of the 12 overs to come, and you're the batting side, what do you do in terms of being able to allow yourself to see the full utility of the start that you've had?
So at this stage of the innings, I would, as a batting team, consider myself in a good position. 2 wickets down and run rate over 6. No need to really take any unnecessary risk as yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to continue scoring on or around that rate and just maintain that pressure on the fielding side. Don't allow them to get back easily into the game by continuously losing wickets.
So you talk about mystery bowlers sometimes in cricket. Mystery bowlers usually indicates exactly how they bowl. In other words, are they going to spin it into you, away from you? We have a different kind of mystery bowler here into the attack, and he's a mystery bowler because he has a number that is not on our sheet. I am going to guess that this is Keon Joseph, but I stand to be corrected. And if it is Keon Joseph, then we're not the only ones with numbers on with issues with numbers. Because
So it says, Brian, in terms of your fortune telling capabilities, in addition to your financial mastery, you have it right again. Well done, my good friend. Joseph into the attack, obviously in the air. And it's dropped by Manchan.
Oh, that was there for the catch. And I think it just did carry, but when he hit the ground, his elbows hit the ground and it popped out. He'll want to have taken that, though.
Yeah, that one surprised the batsman uppishly into the air. And rightfully so. I think it was into his hands, and as he landed, seems to have popped out. It was at a bit of an awkward height.
Sprayed down the leg side. It's going to be wide. So Keon Joseph, just from the 2 deliveries that we've seen from him, has a fair amount of pace. And the ball is carrying through. Now, sometimes I do have to say, the bounce from this end is a little bit inconsistent, because that one was down by Jonathan Fu's ankles. Similar deliveries that we've seen in this inning so far have been taken at chest height.
And even that delivery as well was in between.
Yes, yes.
Just on our wrong waist height. Now, Joseph, he's not the tallest character, but he does have some broad shoulders. So I think with his action and his stride, it's a very smooth run-up. And you can just see from his release point, he's getting that ball to skid through. So I think he's probably bowling with the seam and allowing the seam to do its work off of the surface. Either pitch and skid through or pitch and bounce.
He's not quite as big as Roshan Primus, but to me he's a similar type of bowler. So hits the deck hard, all shoulders as you mentioned, and generates a lot of pace just from his upper body.
And even as you mentioned that his walk is also similar to Primus. It seems like we're having some twin players on the field. Different names and different identities, but very similar attributes. His run-up, his delivery, almost identical to what we saw of Roshan Primus, and a misfield there from the captain.
Well, if the captain misfields, you can excuse him. He just messed around and won a championship in the Caribbean and then jumped on a plane and just got here this morning. So the fact that he's actually on the field contributing now, and by the way, you would have seen him in the summer playing for the U.S. in the World Cup. Had an absolutely scintillating game against Canada. 90 from about 40 balls, if I remember correctly. Hit the ball to all parts, and then played a very important cameo in that victory against Pakistan. From memory, he scored about 25, but it was his innings that set things up for the batters at the end to get close and then eventually win the super over.
Pulled away in the leg side, goes to the fielder. Oh, and it's another drop catch. Again, I think similar to the first one in the over. Got to the fielder. His hands were underneath the ball and just seems to have dropped out when he landed.
Now, in fairness, this is a much more difficult catch.
Correct.
Sprinting to his left, which is never easy if you're a right-hander, and try to take it well, just all the way down. My sense is that he didn't quite judge it appropriately. He may have had enough time to come in addition to running laterally. And had he come in a little bit more, then he takes that catch. But a difficult chance. Tickled down the leg side. This will run away fine for 4. So getting the line wrong that time, Keon Joseph, and punished for it.
And that's what we call rubbing salt in the wounds,
yes.
right? After 2 dropped chances in his over, and a very good over apart from that boundary at the end. Just straight in line, and a fine tickle down the leg side for 4. Really not fair to the bowler in that instance. As a fast bowler yourself, I'm sure you would definitely not have been pleased if that took place.
So, yes, I was a fast bowler, but whether fast or slow, you don't like anyone dropping your catches.
Any bowler.
And particularly if there's a catch that you think should have been taken, that does not improve your mood one bit. And then, as you said, to rub salt in the wound, the very next one that goes for 4. Now, part of that might be the discipline of the bowler himself to not allow a drop catch to get into his head. Because if it gets into your head, then you might get to the point where you spray one down the leg side, and that's what you saw there from Keon Joseph. Oh, first delivery, bang on target from the new bowler, knocks back off stump, and that is the dismissal that they were waiting for. The man who was set is sent back. Mitansh Nityanandam, 28 from 21, 4 4s and a 6, but he's clean bowled here.
Wonderful delivery on the line of the stumps, not allowing the batsman any room to free his hands. And you can see he ran wide off the crease, and that ball actually pitched just outside off and angled in. So that's a technique that you have seen from spinners through the recent years. They use the crease much more often than they would have, and it's very good to see them adapting, because when you bowl from wide off the crease and just sling that ball around your body, there's no need to really turn it, because he's bowling left arm orthodox, and that one went into the right hand instead of away. So in fact, he just used the angle itself and allowed the angle and the pitch to complete their harmony in allowing the stubs to be disturbed.
Let me just make sure I heard that properly. Made the angle and the pitch complete the harmony?
Complete in harmony.
I will tell you, I'm going to write some of this down and use it on the air. I will credit you fully if you'd like. For me, this is a good piece of bowling. It almost seemed to surprise Mitansh Nityanandam. And by the way, the scorecard says Sneh Patel.
Yeah, I think there's just an issue with the numbering of the jerseys.
Yes!
Of some of the members of the Samp army.
And back to the bowler. In fact, just left to the left of the bowler. This is actually, according to his jersey number, Jaidev Patel, who is officially, we have him as the 12th man for the day, so we don't know. Long story short, based on the number that he has, and the scorecard says that it's Sneh Patel who's bowling.
Well, we know that a Patel got the wicket.
A Patel definitely got the wicket.
Whether it's Jaidev or Sneh is to be confirmed, but we'll trust in the technology and that the scorecard has the right name assigned.
Oh my goodness. So this is a good over under the way, by the way, for, let's say, Mr. Patel. Slower through the air, almost a hint of a premeditated shot about that one. He gets it down to fine leg for a single. So looking to see where you are now, 64 for 3. So you're on target for something around 135-ish. Quicker through the air this time. Again, played down to Rajnanan, now at backward square leg.
And what we have seen, interesting as well thus far, is the use of 3 left-arm orthodox bowlers.
Yes.
First Nanan, then Hemraj, and now Patel.
It's an embarrassment of riches. The world cannot have enough left-arm bowlers.
I agree.
Just my goodness. Again, quick through the air. This is very fine, though. And it's going to run away down the hill for 4. What flavor of runs? Runs off the bat, according to umpire Judson Edwards. So that is the end of over number 10, halfway stage. 63, make that 70 for 3 is your score.
Yeah, that delivery, believe he tried the faster ball and just seemed to push it through. Unfortunately, didn't have the right line. And again, just a tickle needed for that ball to run to the boundary. Speed along this lush green outfield at the Paramveers Sports Complex. We are pleased to be bringing you this coverage from. Looks like we're going to see the return of Raj Nanan switching ends.
Rajnanan bowled 2 overs already. 2 overs have cost a few runs, but it was relatively, for somebody who bowls during the power play, 1 for 11 with 2 overs. You'll accept those types of figures. Solidly in defense this time.
Yeah, Nanan coming back into the attack. It could be a sign of intent from Captain Aaron Jones. He doesn't really want to allow these batsmen to get too comfortable. And again, very well bowled from Nanan. His consistency has truly been something to take note of. From his first delivery until now into his 3rd over, he has maintained that pressure, bowling stump to stump. This occasion, it's a bit wider outside the off stump, but bowling to his field, Enough protection there. What I like as well is that he gets through his overs very quickly. He doesn't allow the batsman time to settle.
Yes.
As you raise your head, you tap your bat twice and he's there ready to deliver. And again, using that angle. Not allowing any room. Guram.
Wow. Rajnanan looking good. Again, he's a very difficult bowler to score off of with his height and with the left arm variety.
That's a beauty of a delivery. Missing bat, missing batsman, missing keeper, gloves, everything. The batsman seems to be getting frustrated. Just see him moving around the crease a bit flustered. Just needs to compose himself. Those deliveries have already gone. And focus on the another few. Unfortunately, that's another dot ball. And it brings the over to an end, in which Nanan has bowled a maiden in the 11th over. So at the end of 11, it's 70 for the loss of 3. At this stage, Brian, would you like to see a mixture of spin and pace being used from either end, or you think the spin has been doing a good job, seeing that we have seen 3 left-arm orthodox?
I would make them prove to me that they can play left arm spin before I switch back to pace.
I agree.
Oh!
Agonizingly close. You can see the expression on June's face as that ball just went to the left of him. Maybe if he was a few feet taller, you would have seen him diving in the air.
Oh my goodness.
Top edge. Straight to Mamchan. Completes the catch this time. Comfortable catch taken by the youngster. And another breakthrough. Sneh Patel coming into the attack and picking up another wicket after his first delivery. Got the batsman clean bowled. Now this top edge down to that short third man position. And easy catch for Mamchan in the end.
So watch Liam Mamchan after he catches this. No celebration, almost an underthrow, throwing the ball underhanded with disgust here, there, because I think he's still thinking about the one that he put down earlier, and he's a cricketer with very high standards. He would have thought that he should have taken that. So that's why you didn't see a celebration from that one. It was more irritation at the fact that he dropped that first one.
Yeah, very passionate cricketer is Liam Mamchan. And no doubt that first drop catch would been on his mind, but it's great to see the mental fortitude to be able to just shrug that off your shoulders and continue, because the simplest of catches can become the most difficult when your mind is playing games.
My goodness, yes. So this is a good passage of play for the Samp Army. Again, they're a very strong side. You expect.
It's beauty from Patel again. He really has come into the attack. And the batsmen have no idea how to deal with him thus far.
And we have no idea who the batsmen are. Namish Reddy Guram is the non-striker. He's at the non-striker's end, but this new batter, number 13, does not appear. It's John Vijay.
It seems to be John Vijay from the team list. I mean, we'll just await the confirmation from the electronic scorecard.
In fact, that's exactly what it is, John Vijay. So we stand corrected. Everything that we just said negative about you people in the scoring area, we take back for the time being. Watch Aaron Jones at first slip, because that ball from the left arm orthodox is leaving the new batter. He might consider himself in with a chance for a catch here.
And what Patel is doing is that he's turning the ball, but he's not bowling slow either. He's at nice pace and a nice action, as we saw from his first wicket. using the crease, sometimes bowling close to the stumps, sometimes bowling wide off the stumps, and just allowing that angle to work to his benefit. At the end of 11 overs, the score 71. A loss of 4 wickets. Rajnanan entering the final over of his spell. This one lofted in the air again, but into no man's land. Just a single down to long on. Now we saw the benefit of the maiden that Nanan bowled in his previous bowler, knowing that they would have let 6 dot balls go by consecutively. So it just shows you that people always speak about batting in partnerships, but they underestimate bowling in partnerships.
Probably heard the phrase, great bowlers hunt in pairs.
Exactly, and the thing is, when you have an understanding with your bowling partner, you may not be the one getting the wickets, but your job is crucial to them. And at the end of the day, the wickets are for the team.
I will say that when I played, my bowling partner typically took more wickets than me. Part of me, before I understood the game, used to get frustrated about not taking any wickets until I realized what you just said. This is hammered into the deep for a single, but if you bowl economically, that builds pressure, and when you build pressure, that produces the environment where they want to go after the other bowlers, and then that's where wickets come from.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to tell you that I was a very good bowler when I played. Just in case you didn't follow what I was saying.
No, of course. I was just waiting for the cherry on top with that story. I was just waiting for the icing on the cake.
I'm the Ambrose of both the Houston and Austin cricket leagues. the left arm Ambrose is what I'm trying to say.
And he's bowled him. Nanan strikes with his final delivery of his spell, gets another wicket, and no celebration at all from Nanan. Just another day's work from his reaction, but really well done there. Again, that one quicker through the air, and saw the batsman trying to back away and cut that one from off stump, but cardinal sin. We know a famous West Indies batsman, wicketkeeper, who loved to cut from his off stump. And many times it led to his demise, and many times it also led to him getting runs. The infamous Dinesh Ramdin. Loved that cut shot. And when he played it and executed it, it looked perfect. When he didn't, he would have been dismissed similar to that. Even Ramnari Sarwan used to love the cut as well. And I guess some shots you can't really take out of a batsman's arsenal. If he likes the shot, if it's his go-to, then by all means.
By definition, a cut shot is a cross-batted shot. And if you're playing a cross-batted shot to a ball that's on the stumps, you do that at your peril. This ball for me was both too full and too straight to cut. So once again, we've said it a few times already. These youngsters need to be playing down the ground to these full balls that are on the stumps. Yes, if the ball is wide, then you want to throw the kitchen sink at it, feel free to do that. But if it's on the stumps, and if it's straight, and if it's full, you got to keep playing those with the straight bats.
Sneh Patel continuing. And right where he left off.
I think I've made the decision that I'm never going to keep up with my scorecard once you and I commentate together. Because you have me talking way too much. That is the simplest of catches. Boy.
Kian Joseph takes it.
This is going to feel like the end of the first match that we saw when the Falcons were batting, because they lost a bunch of wickets in a heap. We don't even have time to announce the batters as they come in.
I think even the electronic scorers are having difficulties registering due to the quick turnover. And again, you can see that the youngsters are just a bit inexperienced in terms of feeling the pressure and giving into it. Now, you are aware that the bowler we are now seeing has been changed to Jaidev Patel, but again, Patel is the bowler. The first name at this point will be clarified thereafter. I'm sure my colleague Brian will be able to get that information soon, but the main thing is that the batsmen have seen this bowler from that southern end been very difficult to get away.
Mr. Patel.
Mr. Patel.
Absolutely.
He's been bowling on the stumps, he's been getting turned, and really and truly, there's no need to try and take the attack to him. Let's try and see if you can get the singles. If you get a bad delivery, then sure, put it away. But as we see, when he's bowling those sort of deliveries, there's not much you can do.
Well, it's flat, so it's just not going to give you any time to skip down the track. And it's turning away from you as a right-hander.
Oh, a left-arm orthodox dream.
Angled in from around the wicket, pitching and straightening. Boy, watch slip fielder Rajnanan. First, I almost said Ranjananan. You remember the name Ranjananan?
Of course.
Okay, just checking. Because I was about to take away your TNT passport. If you
Definitely
didn't remember
not.
that name.
In fact, Ranjananan, he's from the Presal area in Trinidad and Tobago, and our producer, Ronnie Bikram Das, was an active member of Presal Cricket Club, as well as myself. So
all of you.
Indeed.
So had you not gotten that, that would have been shut all this down and go home.
A Cardinal sin. But we definitely cannot shut down and go home because the ball has just been thrown to the young Liam Mamchan.
Okay. So on field number 1, we have, 10 cameras? Let's temporarily borrow about 5 of those cameras to come over here to cover this spell.
I agree. We need full 360 coverage.
Yes.
For this youngster.
We need Snicker. We need Stump Mike. So we will not repeat what we just heard. 7.
A lot of constructive support.
Constructive support, absolutely.
Indeed.
No question. No question.
It's really good to see Liam back in action. I know that injury had him down for a bit, but what a talented youngster he is. Very smooth run up and delivery. And once he gets into that stride, it really is difficult to play him.
Short cut away almost directly to the man at short third. He'll get a couple of runs. Liam almost started with a wicket with his first ball.
Yeah, just short of that fielder at that short third man position. Thankfully, the misfield didn't run away to the boundary because we saw the ball just running down the slope after it left his hands.
So it's the left-hander on strike. Parveen Goyat. Neither batter who is at the wicket has any runs to his name. So don't see that happen very often. Again, short of length, played into the offside this time. A pickup. Left-hander out there is doing a lot of work. There's a lot of left-handers who are dominating this game with the ball. And you've seen so far that they've not been able to be scored off of. 74 for 6 with 2 deliveries remaining here. I'll make that 4 deliveries remaining over number 14. And a good start by Liam.
Yeah, Liam just has to be consistent with his deliveries. At this stage, 2 new batsmen to the crease. It'll be difficult for them to just go guns blazing right away. So he has to use his advantage to his favor. And that one driven straight down to the fielder at long off. So comfortable single, but good bowling thus far. Not really giving much room or width.
You like that. And Keon Joseph is the man down at long off. But the field, I think, is set appropriately for a man who's just now coming into his first bowl for the day. And in turn, Liam is actually landing the ball in the right areas. This one a little too straight, so I may have just jinxed him. But he's looked good enough for the first few deliveries. And essentially, he's bowling to the field that he has, and you like seeing that.
Yeah, he's bowling consistent. Just straight in the line a bit, but the length most important. Not too short, not too full. Not really allowing them any opportunity to score as easily as they would like.
And you've seen him bowl before. We've mentioned that he's coming from injuries, so he's quicker than what he's bowling right now. He's trying to stay within himself is what it looks like for me. And the offside, ooh, good shy at the stumps. Really coming directly toward us here, so you could see it was slightly offline, but did well enough to keep it in the infield.
Yeah, good over thus far. Just 6 coming off of it. So
Look at this replay again. Shy at the stumps will be coming into your living rooms right here. And then the throw slightly offline, but no harm, no foul, as they say. Sprays this one down the leg side. He'll have to re-bowl that.
I think the left-right combination has just probably given him a little bit of difficulty. He's within the right range. 5 overs left to go. What are you thinking, Bri? 130, 140, 4 wickets left in the hut.
So this is how far off I am. I'm still in over number 14. I told you and me commentating together is a really bad idea.
It's a pleasure.
We need to talk to the powers that be so I can get back on my game. Clearly, I'm not able to be on my game when you and I are commentating together. What am I thinking? 3 overs or make that 5 overs remaining. I would have to think they'd be thinking, really, see how we can get past 120. Current scoring rate of 5.4. That projection is 108. And, again, in the context of thinking about this team being much more dominant, the one in the field and the one batting. Oh, that is a lovely shot. Take back every word I just said. Got it too straight, and that was a shot of confidence. Parveen Goyat helping himself to 4 runs down the leg side.
Also a shot where he was allowed to play that with quite some ease and comfort. I think that's the first errand delivery we are seeing from Patel. But also the batsman showing a bit of intuition. He moved across his stumps and he actually played that ball from just on our wrong middle and leg. So maybe if he stayed in his crease, he wouldn't have been able to paddle it to that backward square region.
Very interesting. Ooh.
And this
Right.
without any sort of momentum. He probably wants to get into the yak as well with a boundary.
I would say that that's true. Down the ground, not much effort put into the shot though. In fact, he didn't hit that cleanly, nor did he try to. Essentially just serving it over the infield for a single. Speaking of serving, have you ever played tennis?
Yes, I have actually. Lawn tennis and table tennis.
Interesting. So, which are you better at, lawn tennis or table tennis?
I would say table tennis at my present stage. When I was younger, definitely lawn tennis. But you know, with tennis, the sideways movement and all of those stop and starts, especially with ankle pressure.
Yes.
And given the stories I told you previously,
Wow.
if I play lawn tennis now, it's literally just to have a fun rally. And more so for the sake of maintaining that hand-eye coordination to try and help me in the cricket game. Table tennis works perfect for that. Anytime I think that I'm a bit out of form as a batsman, well, that implies that I'm a batsman, which I'm not. But anytime.
Oh, I've already formulated my follow-up question.
I did say I'm an all-rounder. I
Yes,
try
you
my
did.
best at all things. So whenever I struggle in terms of, you know, sometimes when you just go to take a hit
Yep.
and you just feel everything is off and something is wrong and you can't identify what, I try to play some table tennis just to keep my eyes on the ball.
Very, very interesting.
As a coach, they always tell you, when you keep your eyes on the ball, it's almost impossible to get out. And many times I've tried to just watch that ball straight on the bat and see the difference with when you take your eye off at the last second in terms of executing your shot.
Wow, Rajnanan with a clean strike.
His eyes followed that all the way.
Yes, he absolutely did. This is Aditya Padala back into the attack. The opening bowler, he's already bowled 3. This last over of his, the first ball of it, went for 6 over long on. And now you only need another 5 to win. Did he try to win this with one swipe? This is in the deep and put down.
And I think it goes for 4, does it? Or does he stop it?
No, it does stop it from going over the ropes. That man out there, I believe that's Mitanj Nityanandam, did well with the bat, but puts down Rajnanan here.
Hemraj on strike. 3 runs to win. 4 or 6, Brian?
6.
I think so as well. Depends on where he pitches.
Sure. Short ball. Look at that. Guiding it into the outfield. I tell you what, a direct hit there could have been interesting, but does mean that you get the single.
And what I like about that, it just shows the intelligence of Chandapal Hemraj. He's already on 72 at this stage of the innings. That ball certainly held up in the pitch. We saw many wickets being dismissed by the batsman, still going aggressively at it and skying the ball in the air. On that occasion, just guided it and took the single. This time, however, the ball hits the fielder's knee and touches the rope, goes for 4, and that will bring us to the end of this game. The umpire's just waiting on confirmation from the scorers. But really, I think that last delivery kind of sums up how the game turned out for the Carolina Smashers in the end.
Oh my goodness,
unfortunate incidents that led to their defeat in this encounter, but also take nothing away from the excellence on display by Samp and the innings of Chandapal Hemraj. Really showed maturity, grace, as well as confident stroke play, and most importantly, he was not just slugging.
You're exactly right. Proper cricket shots, 76 from 38. I can also do that math. That's a strike rate of 200. 6 4s and 7 6s. Excellent work from Chandapal Hemraj. Nasir Khan, 28 from 16, 2 4s and 3 6s. And Rajnanan with a flourish at the end after Jonathan, who came and went. Rajnanan, 14 from 8 with a 6. So victory by the small margin of 7 wickets. This is great work by the Samp Army. What do you think about the bowlers?
So, in terms of the bowling department, granted, given the fact that a run chase was a bit accelerated,
Yes.
none of the bowlers, unfortunately, with an economy under 7. But that said, Badi, 2 overs, 1 for 14, bowled decently well, as well as Padala, 3.4 overs, 1 for 30, and Abhishek Muta, 2 overs, 1 for 31. Those were the wicket takers for the Carolina Smashers, and unfortunately not able to get as much wickets as they would have liked in this game. Just 6 extras though, which is one positive that it can take. As you said, initially, always look for the positives even in defeat. No matter how small they might seem, they might still be something you can build on to make a better future.
You're 100% right. So tomorrow morning will be the next broadcast from right here at the Prime Bears Cricket Stadium, a cricket complex. The Knight Riders United will be taking on the DCC Raiders Unlimited. Probably a slightly tougher game for the Knight Riders United as compared to this morning. My goodness. Keshav. Can you tell us time for the jerk chicken that I've been craving for the last several minutes?
I think you have certainly deserved it. You've done human service here today, Brian. And we just want to say thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you to everyone who has been with us from Ball 1 today, and even those who have joined us after. Certainly is a pleasure to take you through this first match day in the Atlanta Open T20, and we look forward to the rest of games as they come fast and very swift in terms of 3 games per day on 3 different fields. Field 1 and Field 2 are being streamed, and you can catch them on all of the available options for viewing. So once again, Keshav Bahadur Singh from Cricket 360, Ronnie Bikram Das, as well as Mr. Ricky Rajaram, and the legendary Brian Walters. We'd like to thank everyone for being with us here today and look forward to you joining us tomorrow. Take care, reach home safe, and do have a blessed evening.